Today, I'm calling this topic the Battle of the Verts, and we're going to dive into extroverts versus introverts. And I wanted to start here because it seems to me, and you guys can let me know whether or not you agree, but it seems to me that our culture in America tends to esteem the extroverts while kind of misaligning the introverts. And I just don't think that's not accurate. It's not fair, and it just like I feel like if we buy into that, we're like sending out judgment and creating judgment not only about the other people around us but about ourselves. And so I kind of want to just like undo all of that and dive in and see really what does it mean to be extroverted, what does it mean to be introverted, and what are the disadvantages and advantages of both, and how maybe can they form a complete relationship. In other words, like if you're an extrovert, maybe you're more completed when you have an introvert that you can use their strengths and vice versa. So that by leaning on each other instead of creating this like judgmental distance between each other, we actually become stronger, more powerful, more complete. So I just thought that was a really cool idea. So as per my usual, by the way, I have been saying a lot of silly things lately, like usual. Like, I don't know when I started to kind of talk like a douchebag, but I have. I've been doing it a lot. I don't even know if it's a douchebag. I've been watching a lot of Queer Eye on Netflix, and I think is it Jonathan, the hairstylist? He does this all, yay, teen slang, woo! He does this all the time where he's like, you're gorge. Oh, you're so gorge. So I feel like I just am doing that with a lot of words, and he probably inspired me to do it. He is so cute, isn't he? I love all of them. That is such a fun, like, uplifting show. I love it. But yeah, he's fabulous. He is gorge. He is really gorge. Yeah, so as per my usual, I want to dive into a video. Yay! All right, so let me pull it up for you guys. There we go. All right, here we go, guys.
One of the main differences between introverts and extroverts is that extroverts get their energy from hanging out with other people, whereas introverts aren't mentally ill. Now, if you're looking to get an introvert, you can either adopt a baby one, known as a Shylot, or rescue an adult from an introvert shelter, generally referred to as a library. On arriving home, show your new introvert the location of the litter tray, the feeding bowl, and any windows it can jump out of in case the doorbell rings. A pair of introverts is called an awkward, a group of introverts is called an angst. They are generally never found together in the wild, except by accident, in which case they will apologise for making eye contact, nod politely, then run screaming in opposite directions. Contrary to popular belief, introverts don't dislike human company. They just utterly despise it. Interaction with introverts can be problematic. A typical conversation might run, "Hi. Hello. How's it going? Yes. Fuck. What? Haha, how about that much anticipated sports match last night, eh? What? Fuck! Stuff over here to do a bit now. Better run-a-roo.
Run-a-roo?
What? Yeah. What? Fuck! Introversion itself probably results from a genetic mutation. In fact, introvert DNA is oriented in parallel lines, as the two chains are too embarrassed to twist around on each other. This leads to an enlarged cerebellum and a malformed anxiety load. However, introverts make for excellent fighting animals. They will level up from occasional reader to social hermit, then with enough experience evolve into their final form, professional EVE Online player. The introvert class comes with a low maintenance cost, but extremely high embarrassment risk. Against extroverts, they can use the retreat to toilet move to recover HP, deploy the agreeable conversation defense block, but are totally useless against the direct eye contact attack.
No direct eye contact!
If you want to reward your introvert, why not treat it to a colourful toy, a tummy rub, not forcing it to talk publicly about its emotions ever, and not forcing it to talk publicly about its emotions fucking ever. Mistreating your introvert may prompt a visit from the antisocial services, so try to avoid belittling your introvert in front of its friends, manhandling the first editions of books, talking shit about Kurt Vonnegut, or insisting on phoning rather than texting. Failure to observe these instructions may result in your introvert exhibiting extremely backhanded compliments, a lack of polite sign-offs at the end of emails, or serving your tea only lukewarm and it tasting suspiciously like piss. Like most humans, introverts do have romantic tendencies. Generally, the mating call goes something like, "Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but is someone sitting here? No? Actually, I think I left the gas on. Goodbye forever!" Directness can also be an issue. "How's it going?" generally equates to, "I find you very attractive, hope to see you again, I'm falling quite madly in love," and "I think about you occasionally" translates as, "I would literally remove my ears with a rusty spoon just to see you with your socks off." Dating an introvert can be quite an experience. A romantic evening might consist of the two of you having a glass of wine and reading a book together, separated only by being in different countries and communicating in no way whatsoever. If you grow tired of your introvert, no need to palm it off on a friend. Simply disconnect the router or suggest that it might have offended someone slightly and it will quietly run away in the night. Owners do occasionally come to resemble their pets. You yourself might be an introvert without realizing if you find yourself mentally exhausted after hanging out with people, even those you like, enjoy dining or going to the movies alone, go to leave your apartment, notice your neighbor is out in the hallway, then suddenly grow convinced that you need to go back inside to do some important stuff. Consider small talk, the verbal equivalent of integral calculus, or utilize a 10-point grading system in your head for how the conversation is going so far. With the postman. In any case though, if you're looking for a pet that isn't constantly defacing the furniture or trying to murder you in your sleep, why not get an introvert? Not as good as dogs, but much less likely to piss everywhere. Bye.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Yes, so funny. Yeah. I've adopted introverts, for sure. I am extroverted, if you guys didn't know. 'Cause I'm streaming. I'm sure that helps with the decision to stream. But yeah, like so many, like my husband's an introvert, so many of my close friends are introverts. So yeah, I've adopted many. Yeah, so I wanted to show that video because one, it's, you know, it's funny, but it really highlights the bias and kind of the cultural judging of introverts, because most of that stuff actually isn't true. And we'll dive into that a little bit. But yeah, like that's what we as a culture basically think of an introvert and what introverts get from our culture about who they are. But so much of that isn't true, which kind of blows my mind, which also shows me, yeah, I think this is a cultural norm that we have that isn't in any way, shape, or form supporting anybody. So, but I love that video. So great. Okay, so I call this the Battle of the Verts, right? But there really isn't a battle. Our culture is making it up, and we're making it up every time that we compare ourselves to, if you're an introvert and you compare yourself to an extrovert or an extrovert to an introvert, it's a comparison that doesn't serve anybody. And contrary to popular belief, introverts are not mentally ill like the video jokes. So I would like to set the record straight today as best as I can as an extrovert. So keep that in mind. I can only speak from what I've learned and from my own perspective as an extrovert. So yeah, so really like neither extroversion or introversion is better than the other. Both are completely normal, and they both have advantages and they both have disadvantages. And I think that they both make the world a better place, because the world needs the advantages of an introvert and it needs the advantages of an extrovert. And so if we all were introverts or all extroverts, yeah, we'd have some real weaknesses as a species. So, and both introverts and extroverts are really, really capable of great success. I think our culture basically says that extroverts are more likely to be successful. And that may be true. I don't know. I haven't seen the statistics, right? But that, even if it's true, in no way, shape, or form, like, makes it so that introverted people aren't going to be successful, right? So one of the things to keep in mind is that our version, our extroversion or introversion, we have, is a personality trait. Okay, Upright Oracle, I am so glad you mentioned that because there are actually 3 versions. It's not a dichotomy. There's an introvert, there's an extrovert, and an ambivert. And the ambivert is a mix of both. So you're ambidextrously introverted and extroverted. So yeah, and I get the sense, like I brought this topic up at a few parties, and I guess I get the sense that a lot of people are actually ambiverts. That being a true extrovert or a true introvert is an extreme, and it turns out that that's the case. So I'm really glad you guys brought that up, and I'm for sure going to go into that. So yeah, so our introversion or extroversion or ambiversion is a personality trait. So as such, they're thought of as fixed. So something that we don't really change. So like the Mrs. Scott Evans was just saying that maybe she's changed as she's aged. And certainly we can learn to, like if we're really introverted, we can learn to do better in social situations, have more confidence in social situations. But what defines us as an introvert or an extrovert is basically whether or not social interactions energize us or drain us. And so even if we like kind of get better at handling social situations, they're likely to still drain you, even as you've gotten more confident or competent. Does that make sense? I think so, but I don't know because I am talking in a tunnel of my own head to the computer to a chat screen. Okay, great. Okay, so Hans Eysenck, his last name is spelled Eysenck, so that's Han Eysenck, has a theory about how we become introverts and extroverts. So not fully proven, but a theory. And basically it goes like this, that there is a system in our brainstem. It's called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS, and it regulates our arousal levels. So how much information we're taking in while we're awake. So again, think of like our brain is a computer, and our RAS regulates how much of this data you're taking in any given moment while you're awake. And what he's found is that 15% of us have a low level of absorption, right? A low level of information coming in. And those are your extroverts, your true extroverts. And then 15% have a high level of information coming in. So these are people who are getting very overly stimulated. And that 15% is your introverts. And then there's 70% of us that have a normal level. And that's considered the ambivert. And this makes total sense because extroverts are energized by social situations. Introverts are drained by it. So if you go to an event and you're getting like, 80 to 90% of all that stimulus is actually coming into your brain, yeah, you're going to be fucking drained. But if you only are getting like 40% of the information, what it makes me think of is, it makes me think of 2 things. So one is when they put someone in a dark room and they torture them with music, like heavy metal music, introverts hear all of that. And extroverts introverts would hear that music at like 100%, while extroverts would hear it maybe at 30% or 40%. The torture just isn't the same. It also makes me think of in the Addams Family when Wednesday Addams and her brother are at camp and they get in trouble and they get locked away in like the happy cabin. It's just a little cabin full of like everything that makes people happy. So like pink and unicorns and horrible, horrible happy music, and they're like forced to be in there until they're happy. And like this, like if you are taking in all of that happiness, it's gonna drive anybody insane and be really draining and taxing. But if you literally, your brain cannot take in all that information, you'll be energized or at least not depleted by it. So I thought that was really, really cool. It makes a lot of intuitive sense. So we can think of introversion and extroversion and ambiversion as a continuum. Ta-da! There's the continuum right there. I hope you can read that. So 15% of us are on this end, and that's your introverts. 70% are the ambiverts, and then 15%. Yes! Oh my gosh, Upright Oracle, the Harmony Hat! Yes! That's so much it. Oh. I think after I stream today, I'm gonna go to YouTube and look up Harmony Hat and see it again. So good. Yeah, so again, extroverts are gaining energy from socializing. Introverts are losing energy from socializing. They gain it back up by being alone. That's how they recharge. If they don't have alone time, it really doesn't happen. And then ambiverts enjoy spending time with people and spending time alone. And yeah, like, and I did this. I have a test that we can do in a second. And I've done it, and I am in that 15% of extroverts, but even I like need alone time. So yeah, it's just super, super crucial that introverts get that alone time. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so we have more, they think we have more extroverts in America than introverts. So I'm going to give you kind of the statistics of how many introverts and extroverts we have. Keep in mind, this doesn't reflect ambiverts. So it's going to be a mix of both. I guess we could just take the total of the US population and find out what 15% of that is. Oh, I'm going to do that. Okay, what is the total of the US population? If any of you guys know that off the top of your head, I'd be super impressed. Okay, 327 million. Okay, so there are basically 49 million introverts, like true introverts at that 15% range, and 49 million extroverts. So then that leaves 229 million ambiverts. So the vast majority of us are ambiverted. Yeah, so what did I want to say? But okay, yeah, so but not everybody is subscribing to this more complicated model where you have ambiverts as a personality trait. And if you're just looking at it dualistically, which most people do at this point, they think extroverts represent 50 to 74% of our population, whereas introverts are only 20 to 40. So I think that because extroverts, right, dominate, are the majority, and because our culture idolizes individuality and this like romantic ideal of the self-made man or woman, I think those two ideas come together and create this cultural judgment and misunderstanding and misaligning really about introverts. And yeah, you know, like, so like that video, it's like introverts are quiet, they're withdrawn, they're antisocial, they all suffer from social anxiety, they don't enjoy spending time with people, like all of that. And it's none of that is necessarily true at all. You can be an extrovert and have social anxiety. You can be introverted and have social anxiety. You can be an ambivert. So none of that, like, you know, really is true about introverts. They're not like there are extroverts that think introverts are like mentally ill, right? Like the video joked, it's totally not true. They just differ in this primary way, which is that their introverts are focused internally as opposed to seeking out external stimulation. So extroverts, external, introverts, internal, right? And that extroverts gain energy from large groups of people, and introverts lose energy from groups of people. So yeah, so introverts, what they really are, here's like a list of qualities that they have. So they're drained by social events and they're filled by alone time. We've covered that. They are quite often very good at socializing, but it drains them. And so they prefer not to do it. So again, it's not that they're socially inept at all. It's just that they're conservative with who they talk to and when they choose to engage with people. And that makes total sense to me. If my energy was limited, I would be really particular in the relationships that I actually spend a lot of time with, right? And like give my limited energy and care to. Like that makes so much sense. So introverts are focused primarily on their internal world. So, you know, there's this like stereotype that they can't make small talk, or they really hate small talk. And then again, guys, like this is just all, right? Like talking generalities. Every single human being is different, and not all of this is going to apply to every introvert. But if they do hate small talk, it's because small talk seems to really depend on the external world, right? You're like, oh, how's the weather? Or, gosh, you look really happy today because of blah blah blah. Or, oh, those Yankees, right? Like all these like superficial, very fluffy conversation pieces. They don't go very deep, so they don't really exist internally. Introverts tend to go very deep because they spend so much time in their internal world, and so they're more interested in deeper, more truthful conversations, right? And so they might be more empathetic and interpersonally connected than extroverts, guys, because they spend more time on their inward focus and because they're highly observant. So one of the key things of having social intelligence is being highly aware of yourself and your own emotions. If you don't have that, it's very hard to recognize emotions in other people. So introverts are often very emotionally intelligent because they just naturally spend a lot of time paying attention to who they are and what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And I've mentioned this, but I want to mention it again. An appetite for alone time is really healthy and totally necessary. I guess one other thing about introverts is that they have their preference is to learn by watching instead of jumping in and doing. So for the most part, as an extrovert, I would just love to jump in and do it. I think that like messing up publicly and going on like is an adventure, right? And I really enjoy the social aspect of it. Yeah, so this was like, oh wow, people like can prefer to learn things by watching instead of doing. I never knew that, right? Like I've been totally blinded by my own way of being. So that was really interesting to me. Oh, yeah, let's do the test to see if we're introverted, extroverted, or ambiverted. I was just gonna blow past that, and that would have been lame. So let me pull that up. And if you want to do it, you're gonna need a piece of paper and something to write with, obviously, so to speak. Yes, public scrutiny does equal anxiety, for sure. Yeah, like, so it's so funny because I took this test, right? And I came back in the 15% of extroverted. And on the one hand, I was like, yeah, of course. But on the other hand, I was like, but I get super anxious meeting new people. I do. Like, I get anxious streaming, right? Like, so I wish that extroversion meant that I didn't have insecurity. Like, that would be a superpower. It doesn't. Yeah. So I'm finding it not so... I guess I used to doubt my own extroversion because I got anxious meeting people. And because I also don't really like small talk. I find it pretty superficial and hard to just like navigate. So I identify with introverts that way, but knowing that the core of it is this idea of what fills your energy up, what lessens it, like helped me release all of these like judgments or preconceived notions I had about what it meant to be an introvert and extrovert, and just accept the fact that I'm introverted. And yeah, that means that I have social anxiety. That doesn't mean that I'm not extroverted. So yes, I'm rambling. Okay, so here is the test. And what you want to do is we're going to go over 20 items. So I'm just going to go down my paper and write like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 20. Uh-oh, I'm running out of space. I ran out. Okay. So what you want to do is it's a scale from 1 to 5. 1 doesn't apply to me at all. 5 really applies to me. So it's a sliding scale. And I guess you could think of it as like 1 doesn't apply to me all. 2 somewhat applies to me. 3 is neutral. 4, okay, wait, I messed up. It should be 5 really applies to me. 4 mostly applies to me. 3 and then 2 somewhat like, and it doesn't really apply to me. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so makes friends easily. 1, 2, 5. With 1 doesn't apply to you at all. 5 being it applies to you, really applies to you. And I'm gonna go kind of quickly because I think the longer we think about each one, the less truthful we probably are. So 2, I'm hard to get to know. I keep others at a distance. I reveal a little about myself. 5, I warm up quickly to others. 6, rarely get caught up in the excitement. 7, am not a very enthusiastic person. 8, show my feelings when I'm happy. 9, have a lot of fun. 10, I laugh a lot. 11, I take charge. 12, have a strong personality. 13, I lack the talent for influencing people. 14, I know how to captivate people. 15, I wait for others to lead the way. 16, I see myself as a good leader. 17, I can talk others into doing things. 18, I hold back my opinions. 19, I am the first to act. And 20, I do not have an assertive personality. Okay. So, oh no, I lost chat. Hold on, guys. All right. Okay, so what we want to do is you're going to reverse code items. So go ahead and circle number 2, number 3, 4, 6, 7, 13, 15, 18, and 20. So you're circling 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 13, 15, 18, and 20. And what that means is if you have a 1, you're going to replace it with a 5. If you have a 4, you're going to replace it with a 2. A 3 will stay a 3, a 2 becomes a 4, and a 1 becomes a 5. So these are reverse coded items. So you're just flipping the value of the number. So I'm doing that for each of those. And let me know in chat if you have any questions or I'm going too fast. Okay. And then once you're ready with that, you're going to add up all of those numbers. And then you're going to divide the total by 20 to get the average. So I have a handy calculator. Old school, not on my phone, because that's where chat is. Oh, man. So, if any, okay, cool, 2.7. Mrs. Scott Evans. All right, Bree. 2.7. Me. I got a 4.6. I love this. I love this. So, okay, here we go. So if you average 3.0 or less, you're probably an introvert. So, Bree, you are probably an introvert. If you average between a 3.1 to a 3.8, you're probably an ambivert. And then if you average a 3.9 or higher, you're probably an extrovert. So, and you all can see this on the screen, but 3.0 or less, you're introverted. 3.1 to 3.8, you're extroverted. An average 3.9 or higher, you're probably, nope, sorry, ambiverted. Bleh. If you average 3.9 or higher, you're probably an extrovert. Yeah, how do you feel about your result, Bree? Do you feel like the test was accurate? Yeah, you are. You're like right on the cusp of ambiversion, basically. Tiki, my hair. Did you get lost in the questions because you were maybe overthinking them a little? Or thinking about them too much? Yeah, so Tiki, my hair, first of all, thank you. I saw that you upped your Patreon contribution, which is amazing. So if you weren't already, you will definitely now have access to all of my show notes, like the stream notes. And you can get those on phone to PC. Okay. You can get those on my website by going to the arena, the section on my website that has arena. And you can access all of the stream notes there. So you'll have the link to this quiz. Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. So talking about Mrs. Scott Evans, about... Oh, you can see my stream notes. There they are for later. I didn't pop that back over. All right. So I want to go into... thank you for sharing that, Bree. I really appreciate it. So I wanted to go back into the topic because I'm about to unpack that there are 4 different kinds of introversion, and that introverts are thought to express or have varying degrees of each of these kinds. So when you say that you lean introverted but you're not in the extreme, it's probably because your mix of the kinds of introversion isn't our like stereotypical cliched introvert, right? That's my guess. So there's social introversion, and first of all, I can do this. If you want to take a test or a quiz that shows you what kind of introvert you are, you can go to this link right there. And that should bring it up. Let's see. Yeah, that should bring it up for you. And if it doesn't, let me know. Okay, so the first kind is social introversion. And it's the stereotype of someone who likes to be alone and not socialize. And they're often misunderstood as shy. And it's misunderstood because, again, it's not so much that they're shy, but just that being around people is so draining that they just really rather not do it. There's the thinking introversion, which is someone who likes to think about everything and anything. They are very pensive. They spend a lot of time in this like marvelous world that they have in their head, like just very rich in coming up at like a very alive fantasy world in their head. I hesitate to say fantasy because that sounds judgy, but I don't mean it that way at all. They're very creative, and my dad, like that's like, that sounds so much like him. He's very pensive. There's the anxious introvert, which is that introvert who gets anxious in social situations. And for that, like therapy, counseling, and coaching can really help a lot. And then there's the restrained introvert, which is someone who takes a while to warm up, enjoys being around other people, but only really after they've gotten used to the person or the people and the situation. So they're more reserved. They're kind of defined by their quality of being reserved around people, but they enjoy people. So yeah, you can go to that link to take that quiz. And so really like basically like, just because, see, what do I want to say? I guess I want to say to all the extroverts out there, and yeah, to all the extroverts, that just because like you really get energy from socializing, it does not mean in any way that introverts are weird because they get drained by it, or that they're bad at it, like bad at socializing simply because they'd rather not do it. So I want to like totally take that myth and throw it out and like never accept it again in the way we, the last one is the restrained introversion. Yeah, I mean, I would say from my perspective that probably fits you the most too. Yeah. Makes me feel so special to be your friend. Da, 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 da. That's my happy friend dance. Do, 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 do. All right. Nope, I still want to do it. Da, 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 da. Okay. I don't think I need to do anything from the Fuck It Bucket today because I just did a happy friend dance. But now that I mentioned it, I want to do it. Let's see what I get. Oh yeah, so you're getting that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Best tense ever. Yeah, you're getting that, that's the word! They're mirroring back to you what you know about yourself. Acceptance, yes, that's not it, but that's close. Affirmation? There's a really precise word that I really want to use. Oh, it's frustrating. Nope, not doing it. It says a wall squat. I'm exhausted. Oh yeah, nope. It was like wall squat and do a funny voice, which I feel like I just did. And I will be doing on Child of Light. So yeah. Basically this tells me that I need to up the uncomfortableness of my Fuck It Bucket. Because all that was like, nah, it's too easy. This is not scary. It doesn't thrill me at all. Okay. Anyways, I digressed. So my main reason for talking about this today is I would really love for us to celebrate and honor our differences and to help each other out. You know, so like I mentioned at the very start of this, there's a great opportunity here. Like you could look at extroverts and say, wow, here are all the strengths, and ooh, here's some of their blind spots, and leave it at that. And you could do the same thing with introverts. Like, here are all their strengths, here's their blind spots, and just leave it at that. And you miss the opportunity of going, what if I combined them together? And what if we really leaned on each other? And in that way, like, because the strengths the strengths of one seem to fit the disadvantages of the other so well, and vice versa, that it's just a shame if we don't embrace it and use it. So to all of the extroverts that are listening or watching, reach out to your introverted friends whenever you need perspective regarding emotional intelligence. right? Because chances are our introverted friends are more emotionally intelligent than we are, which seems really counterintuitive because I think extroverts, wow, they're really good at socializing, but maybe one of the reasons why we can do it is because we aren't as aware of the judgments that we're getting while we do it. Just a theory, but yeah, like reach out to your introverted friends when you want help or need help with emotional intelligence issues, and also know that your close introverts they're like a wellspring of deep thinking and insight, and so go to them for their opinion. Like, they're not gonna give you opinions that haven't really been thought out, and when they do like voice their opinion on their own without you asking, like listen to it, because they've spent that much time thinking about it and they have a lot of wisdom and perspective. Like, they have access to a perspective that us extroverts don't naturally have. Like, we really have to work for it and slow down to get it, I think. So that's my 2 cents about how extroverts can lean on the introverts. And so the introverts out there, lean on your extroverted friends whenever you want help with small talk or with meeting new people. Like, use us as a social shield, right? Like, just use us. And because your extroverted friend is more likely to have a larger social network, you can reach out to your extroverted friends for help connecting with people who can help further your career or a dream of yours, or our connections to others and our relationships with others are like a catalyst for anything we want in life. We really can't achieve much completely on our own. So use the social network of your extroverted friends. Like, get permission, ask them to help you, and that way you're not limited by, oh good, you've done it before. Wait. Oh, sorry, Tiki Meher, your link got deleted. It's probably because of a moderating bot I have set up that won't let you share a link. Poop. I'm gonna make a note about fixing that for next time. Oop, I lost my headset. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, so, Oh, that's a good question. Oh. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, that's what I need. Yeah, so, okay. While we're waiting, because I would love to hear what Tiki's score is. Would love it. All right, so I think like one last point that I have to make is that, because this is something, like I said, I have a lot of introverted friends. My husband's an introvert. Most of my family are introverts. Really, I don't know where I came from. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why my RAS system and my brainstem is so different from my family. But it seems to be. Anyways, is that, like, I really struggled with my loved ones, or like my close friends and family. Like, whenever they needed alone time, I felt like that was, like, I made them mad, or like that it wasn't that they needed alone time, but that they needed time away from me. Specifically me and like nobody else or whatever. And I just took it really personally. And being really honest, I still kind of do. Or I struggle with that. Like, my first impulse is to take it personally because as an extrovert, I just want to spend all the time in the world with the people I really care about. And I don't really it takes a whole lot of that for me to get drained, right? So I just took it personally, but it's really true that it isn't personal. That their brains, like, they just don't function like ours do. And that nothing's wrong with them, and more specifically, nothing is wrong with your relationship. What will make something wrong with your relationship is if you get clingy and you don't let them have their alone time, because they will be drained all the time. And in my experience, that's when my husband gets very snappy and is irritated. And so it's just let them have their space. If you're extroverted, let your introverted friends and family have their space. I lost some of checks. I had to switch it around. For those of you who are new and watching, my name's Catherine. This is Punch Life Back, and what I do on Thursdays is it's really about honoring the hero in ourselves, and we explore topics that help us understand what it takes to live fearlessly and to punch back whenever life knocks us down. So that's what we're doing. I have a goal here. I want to become affiliate by my birthday. I'm super close. So if you like this, follow it, share it, all that kind of stuff, and help me get there. It would be such an awesome birthday gift to have done that. Yeah. So, and I'm super close. Oh! 3.45. That's so funny. Why is the bot reading that as a link? 3.45. All right, so that was, I don't even remember. Was that ambiverted? Or is that high enough? Wasn't, I think 3.7 was extrovert. I can find out. I have the control. I'm going, I'm almost there. Oh, the suspense. The suspense of nothingness. 3.9 or higher. So, yeah, you are at a 3.45. You are, you're an ambivert. Right in there. So you have the qualities of an extrovert and an introvert. Honestly, that seems like such a sweet spot to be. Right? Like, ambiverts kind of have the best of the both worlds if they can, like, I wonder, like, as an ambivert, now that you know Tiki Maher, sorry about the commercial, guys. If I keep using Pandora or Spotify, I'll get a membership, so you don't have to hear it. I wonder, now that you know about being an ambivert, if you can strategically choose to use your introversion at a certain point and strategically use to your extroversion at a certain point. Whereas like an extrovert and introvert like lean on each other to become an ambivert, right? An ambivert just has both qualities. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Thursday, Italian BMT, best day ever. Subway.
So yeah, guys. Oh yeah, I have another short video to kind of like put a bow on this. So I'm gonna go over there, and we'll watch it, and I'll drink more of my soda. Da 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 da. I'm just gonna provide the music. I don't need to get music. Okay, here we go.
Introversion is an often misunderstood term because people relate it so much to shyness. It actually doesn't go by a one-size-fits-all definition, as it can be categorized into 4 different types. The 4 types of introverts can be vaguely described by the traits social, thinking, and anxious restrained. Social introverts. The belief that social introverts dislike socialization is false. Rather, they prefer to socialize in small groups of people they feel compatible with and comfortable around, such as close friends or their family circle. Thus, they are not exactly shy or reserved. Thinking introverts. These are people who remain introverts in their thinking process, causing them to be more thoughtful and self-reflective. For instance, they can get lost in their own dream world, drowned in creativity and imagination. Anxious introverts. Anxious introverts prefer to be alone because they feel uncomfortable or unsuitable during social gatherings, as they are not confident about their social skills. Consequently, they are likely to choose solitude, but sometimes even solitude may not reduce their anxiety. These introverts tend to minimize anxiety by ruminating on things that could have gone wrong had they been in a particular social context. Restrained introverts. These are people who take time in everything they do, whether it's socializing or springing up in action. They may seem slow since they think more carefully before they speak or act, and are more passive in nature than the active types. Now, you've probably come across an introvert in your life and labeled him or her as so by identifying a trait that fits in one of the above types. So how do you know whether an introvert likes you or not? 1. Making the first move. Generally, introverts don't make the first move in a social context. But if you find that an introvert is actively making an effort to talk to you or making a gesture to grab your attention, you can bet he or she
Looks like he's
you.
gonna slap him.
2. Opening up. Introverts are not easy to crack. It takes time for them to come out of their shell and open up about themselves.
So
However, if an introvert is telling you a lot about themselves, you are definitely someone they want to connect with. 3. Observing. As introverts are good observers, they are not quick in making friends or including people in their social circle. They take their time getting to know people and later choose them as friends. If you find that an introvert is building a good relationship with you, it means he or she wants to be close to you. 4. Inviting you into their personal space. Introverts like spending time in solitude to reflect on themselves, their thoughts, and emotions. If you are invited into their personal space and asked to spend time with them, then they no doubt enjoy your company. 5. Talking about personal topics. You wouldn't normally find an introvert engaging in a personal conversation. Instead, most of their conversations are generic. But if you come across an introvert that tells you about their likes and dislikes, interests, hobbies, ideologies, and goals, that means they like you to the extent where they feel comfortable doing things that are considered out of character. 6. Showing extra care. Introverts place high values on relationships. They show a lot of care, concern, and empathy towards people whom they consider friends or significant others through their communications and behaviors. If an introvert is paying extra attention to you, then they consider you as part of their close circle of friends. 7. Going the extra mile. Introverts are very warm and helping people. If you find an introvert trying to do things for you without you asking for help, you are someone he or she really likes. 8. Constantly keeping in touch. Even introverts distinguish between close and casual friends. If they keep you a part of their daily lives, then you are someone special to them. 9. Revealing secrets. Everyone has a secret they keep to themselves. Introverts especially are very careful about whom they reveal their secrets to. It can be something like allowing you to read their diary or sharing an important aspect of their past. If an introvert is allowing you to know a secret part of their life, you are someone whom they really trust and like. 10. Giving feedback. Introverts don't usually give others advice or feedback, as they keep most of their opinions to themselves. But if you find that an introvert is giving you honest advice or feedback, they are definitely concerned about you and your well-being. And those are 10 signs an introvert likes you. Do these traits sound like someone you know? Do you consider yourself an introvert? And if so, can you relate to these traits? Let us know in the comments below.
Yay. Oh, I think that's such a sweet little video, and like that's why I chose to use it to kind of wrap up this discussion, because it basically, since there's, I think, so much negative judgment from the perspective of extroversion onto introversion, it just becomes, that video is so sweet because it's reminding me as an extrovert that being invited into an introvert's life is an honor. And it means that they really care about you, right? And that they feel safe with you. And it's a friendship that you really actually have to earn. And I think there's a lot of, there's just something, I guess, sacred in that. So yeah, I feel quite special because of my introverts that have included me in their lives. So yeah, I'm wondering, guys, what your main takeaway is from this stream today about extroversion and introversion. I think mine is basically just having this more robust understanding of what it means, and how there's so much more variety than we thought. That there's extroverts that are 15% of the population, introverts that are 15%, and then 70% that are ambiverts. And even in introversion, there's like a mix of 4 different kinds. And I would assume there's even more different kinds of ambiverts, and maybe 4-ish kinds of extroverts. So that's pretty incredible. Like, we're talking about a fixed personality trait, but there's so much variety within what's fixed. And so even though, like, kind of going back all the way to the beginning, even though we now have like taken the test and we know that we're an introvert, an ambivert, or an extrovert, and that's something fixed about us, I hope that you've seen that there are possibilities for how to take your advantages and multiply them and really use them as strengths, and how to take your disadvantages and have the people in your life who are different than you fill that hole and kind of fix your disadvantage so it doesn't really hold you back in life.